Okay folks, what I've got here in the pan is just some melted butter. To this I've added a small amount of vanilla extract in this case. If you have vanilla bean, that's even better. Maybe a quarter of a bean, scrape out the seeds and put them in. Let that infuse in the butter. Into that butter we're going to add some chives. Just cut these up from the garden this morning. Season it fairly well with white pepper and some sea salt, because we'll be using this later and we want to season it up ahead of time. Okay, so we're making some nice little potato gratin rounds here that are going to bake off in the oven. As you can see, I've thinly sliced these potatoes on a mandolin. Try to get uniform thickness. And then we're just going to layer them around in these rounds like you see here. And remember that vanilla infused chive butter that we had earlier? We're just going to keep brushing this in every couple of layers. To add the seasoning, we added the salt and pepper, if you recall, from before, infused it with the vanilla, and we also put the chives in there. So we'll just keep doing this until they get filled up to the top. You can go a little bit higher when you fill this up, because they will cook down and reduce in height. So here's those potato rounds now, about ready to go in the oven. As you saw earlier, brushed with lots of that nice vanilla chive butter. So we're going to pop these into the oven now at 350 Fahrenheit. Cooking time will vary a little bit depending upon your actual oven temperature, how accurate that is. So after maybe 40-45 minutes, you might want to just stick a small thin paring knife into the middle, and as soon as it inserts easily right through without any resistance, they'll be ready to go. Cooked and simmered slowly in a little bit of a ginger garlic paste. You can pick that up at most grocery stores in the international aisle. It gives a nice little gingery note to the carrots. When that's done, we put it back over low to medium heat. We're going to add a little bit of butter in there just to balance things out. Some cumin, smoked paprika, a little pinch of cinnamon, some pepper, and a little bit of salt. And then just stir all that together and let the flavors get happy, as I like to say it. Okay, so we're finally going to get around to doing the lamb. This is the last step in the process here. What I've got here is actually the biggest muscle off the leg of lamb. I had a whole leg of lamb that I boned out and broke down into small pieces and used the tougher cuts to use them for a lamb curry a few days ago. But I preserved this largest muscle because I wanted to cook this medium rare, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. Very simply, I'm going to dust it with a little bit. It's already had a light coating of oil. A little bit of black pepper and some sea salt there just to season that up. Pat that on, make sure it's on there nice. Now really hot, I like to use cast iron. I call it the original non-stick pan. So we're going to sear that on one side for a few minutes, about 3-4 minutes on one side. Flip it over and then finish it off in 375 degree oven. So it's just medium rare, 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we're about ready to turn this over now, but don't forget to season the other side like we did the first side. Again, with a bit of sea salt and a couple of grinds of nice black pepper. Now we got a nice little brown crust forming there on that side, and put that into the oven. So their lamb's now been about 15 minutes, and check the internal temperature. It's just shy of 145 at this point, so I'm going to pull it out, let it rest, tent it with some foil over here. While that's happening, it's time to get the sauce going. So in this pan with all the nice brown juices and bits from the lamb, you can add some shallots to that. Some of this beautiful gritstone Cabernet from Sue-Ann staff. We're going to deglaze that with the wine. And get all that good stuff off the bottom. Now if you have lamb stock available, even better. Save the bones when you have a leg of lamb and bone them out and roast those up and make some nice rich lamb stock. But I just happen to have only some light chicken stock, so I'm just going to add that. That's about maybe half a cup or so. And we're just going to get this back up to the boil and let it reduce down. Okay, so there's our sauce reduced down now. You can see it's thickened up a bit. We're going to now add just a little bit of butter to this. It'll add some richness and a little nice sheen as if it's not shiny enough already. And here's the secret. We're trying to play the flavors in the wines. Remember the delicate flavors we've added with some hints of ginger and spice notes in the carrot. There's just a little pinch of cocoa powder going in here now. Any reserved juices from the meat, we don't want to waste those, so we'll put that in from the lamb that's been resting over there. Just kind of let that all kind of bring that together. That's done. We'll go carve that lamb. Okay, so it's time to carve this lamb and see how it is. Got my nice sharp chef's knife here. On the thinner section, we're cutting across the grain. Please take note of that. It looks like we actually ended up a little bit more on the medium side, which is fine. Pull it a few degrees cooler next time, maybe around 135. And there's your lamb ready to go on the plate. Okay, plating time. Here's that nice ginger and kind of Moroccan, if you will, spiced carrot puree. We're just going to put some of that down on the plate. Maybe just for fun, smear it out a little bit, make it look pretty. A bit of a teardrop pattern. A little bit more because I hope it's good. And we get to the potatoes next. Remove these rings. Hopefully they come off easily. Looks like we got a winner here. Put that down on top, just off to the side a little bit. Make it a little irregular. And then lay down 3 or 4 slices of that nice lamb. In there like that. Going for pretty simple here, nothing too crazy. Just hopefully good, tasty food. And here's that sauce going down a little bit over the lamb. And just to pretty it up a little bit more, we'll drizzle a little bit around the outside for fun. And why not a couple of chives from the garden. There you go. Okay, folks, it's time to taste the final result here and taste it with the wine and see how we did. The nice butter and chive, the vanilla infused butter and the chives and the potatoes. I'm going to do a little taste of each of the 3 and then all together. So on the potato, I'm getting a very delicate hint of vanilla. Seasoning is good because we seasoned up that butter fairly well before we brushed it on between the layers. On the carrot, we've got some ginger, some smoked paprika, cumin, and a little bit of cinnamon to get some nice kind of Moroccan flavors in there and play to the wine. And on the lamb, simple. We use the wine, of course, in the sauce to deglaze the pan. And then I did a pinch of cocoa powder in there just to add some depth and richness to that sauce. So now we get a little bit of each. As I've said many times, what I'm looking for is balance, much like the winemakers are looking for balance in their wines. We want the flavors and the acidity, and in my case, the seasoning, to be, the term I use is harmonious. And that's what I'm looking for when I do a dish, any dish really. Lamb's not overcooked, still tender. I think it works. You can still pick up those subtle nuances in the wine. There's elements or hints of them throughout the different elements on the plate. Something I strive for whenever I'm putting a dish together. So I'd have to say I'm quite happy with the result. This is a good match, this wine, with not just lamb, but any roast, I would say venison or wild game. This would be a great partner. Certainly works well with the lamb though. And there you have it, and a good match.